Ezio Auditore's trilogy ended in the last game, Revelations. Now we are getting the ending to Desmond Miles' story. This is Assassin's Creed 3. Don't go away. So for gameplay, Assassin's Creed 3, which is actually the 5th in the series, by the way, a little deceiving there. Just straight to the point. I don't have a lot to talk about on this game straight up because of the fact that this game does not have a lot to offer here. There's two sides to gameplay: the actual gameplay of playing the game and the story / characters. The story and characters absolutely hold this game up a huge amount. The gameplay really drags this game down. And not only is the story really good here, it might be the best in the series so far. Ezio Auditore, as mentioned before, has retired as a character, so the main spot's up for grabs. Well, here comes Haythem. You start the game out, Haythem comes in, and of course it's like, oh, it's the new guy. It's like sort of a weird feeling, but he quickly became a very interesting, badass character in my opinion. I was like, yo, if this is the new face of Assassin's Creed games, I'm in for it.
Oh, this is rich.
And Assassin's Creed 3 does this transition so well because when you're playing as Haythem, you're like gathering your forces for what you would think is the Assassin's Guild, right? The Assassin's Creed. And you're gathering these forces, you're about an hour into the game or some shit, and then he turns around and it's like, alright boys, we're the Templars. And it's like, wait, what? Psych! And it's at that moment the game like pulls out and then you go back into a different memory of Connor. And that's who you start playing as. So a great way to do that, honestly. And of course, Connor's job is to track down the Templars and kill them, which, including his father, Haythem, he has to kill him in the end. And long story short, not a lot happens in the beginning or mid story of this game. About 3/4 way through, Connor actually meets Haythem, his father, and they have an interesting dynamic. But as Connor's mentor, Achilles, tells him, you have to do this, you have to see this through, you're gonna have to kill him. They have a great battle in the end, although the ending cutscene between him and Haythem were not that great. And honestly, I wanted Haythem to live because he was that good of a character. I wanted to see him be like a staple villain for games to come. Obviously it doesn't turn out that way, but I really loved how they finished off Charles's Lee character. If Haythem was the good cop on the bad guy side, Lee was the bad cop. Lee was always there antagonizing, he was always in the picture doing some crazy stuff. It's a huge payoff in the end because throughout the story you see Connor basically throw his entire life at trying to get Charles Lee, and he's so exhausted by the time it ends that when it does end, it's very satisfactory.
Why?
Because no one else will.
I was quite satisfied with that one.
Now, of course, I've been saying this for the 4 Assassin's Creed games previous. That was the story, but there's also the story outside of the story, the big picture story, Desmond Miles. Now, straight up, apologies to Revelations. I thought that was the end of Desmond Miles' story. I literally said it was the biggest cliffhanger possible because that was the last Ezio game, and I assumed that's the last Desmond Miles game, and it was like, I know what we need to do, and then it ended. This is actually the last Desmond Miles game. And this is really where it ends. And I thought this was a fitting ending. I'm kind of glad that they didn't stretch it out even longer because I thought it was already going on pretty long. But, I mean, again, this was like the best part of Assassin's Creed 3 was the story. I was so focused whenever these scenes came up, so like stuck on the screen, eyes glued, that nothing else mattered. Like, the story and characters of this game are completely carry this from dog trash game into pretty okay game category.
Already we could generate fields to protect us in times of strife. But these were small and simple things. To replicate them on a scale the size of a world, we lack the energy to make it so. Half the world, they said then. It is better than none at all.
But talking about dog trash game play, let's talk about that. The actual playing of the game and not watching cutscenes or characters is pretty mild. I'm just going to go down my list here because there's quite a few things. Every single feature that was in a previous Assassin's Creed game is worse off here. Assassinating someone? Good luck trying to find some mission to do that. There's literally like, I can count, I guarantee there's like under 5 assassination missions where you have to like hide somewhere or get to a spot secretly, stealthily, and then assassinate someone. Literally very, very rarely happens here. Combat is no longer that much fun. In fact, I openly avoided combat because it was just so sponge worthy for enemies. In previous Assassin's Creed game, it's like counter and attack. Here it's like counter and attack, and then square and square and square, square, square. I've never done more button mashing in my life in Assassin's Creed game, but the enemies really do take a beating here. Horse riding, it could be because the environments are more cluttered, but the horse riding was more frustrating. It just seemed like there was trash controls this time. Shops and merchants play such a tiny role. In previous Assassin's Creed games, I would love to, you know, update my suit or get new weapons eventually and new range weapons and stuff like that. Here, it's like I went to a shop twice and it had the same weapons. I couldn't upgrade my bow at all. Maybe I missed that somewhere too. I actually did find a shop where I could change my outfit, but it didn't give me a preview of what I was buying. It just gave me a description of this suit is red and yellow or some crap. It's like, I don't even, like, I'm not going to spend big money on this new Assassin's Creed outfit without even being able to see what it looks like. The Assassin's Guild heavily nerfed once again. In fact, it plays 0 role impact. Previously, I really liked building up my Assassin's Guild, getting people to master assassins, you know, bringing them into the guild. Now it's like, I forgot that this was part of the game. Like, the first dude you get into the guild, you can send him on missions and stuff, but that is so hidden deep in the menu system that I didn't even utilize it. Basic free running, the calling card of Assassin's Creed felt way stickier, and I say it felt way stickier because I don't actually know if they changed the way that free running actually works, or is it because that the environment that you're running in is so cluttered now because you're running in inner city stuff that you're just constantly running into things. So sort of a combination of those two. The two new things that they added, actually I enjoyed. Hunting, right? Doesn't play a huge part. Basically, you just sell the parts of the animals that you hunt. And the big one, which is pretty much, in my opinion, now I've never played Black Flag, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, but I'm pretty sure this is like a huge beta test for that game because the ship battles were arguably the best part of this game.
Ship afloat. The cargo must be saved.
So yeah, summed up, Assassin's Creed gameplay wise, playing the game sucks unless you're in a ship, but it's sort of balanced out by the very interesting story and tie up and closing of Desmond Miles' story, combined with Haythem and Connor. Sort of evened itself out. Presentation, sadly, to use this wording again, I'm saying that because it's mostly due to the soundtracks here. Sure, the intro title scene and synchronizing with towers sounds good, unique, interesting to the franchise. But the things that can turn mundane running around cities, like running around Venice, oh, you put a soundtrack in, it gives life to that city. Here, you're running around Boston, you're running around New York, there is no soundtrack. It's boring as hell. And branching off from the Boston and New York City lifestyle, like running around the city, I actually forgot that there were 2 cities in this game. I thought that there was 1 city because they both look the exact same. Sure, maybe this is historically accurate. That's not my problem. My problem is that they were both boring. The menu system is changed for the worse. It's clunkily implemented and takes much longer to open up now. But it's not all bad because voice acting, sure, it was okay. It was good, well done, and there were a lot of cinematic moments while free running. I will say, this is the only thing I'll give to free running. You can run through buildings in this game, and it's like a mini cutscene because you're running through a window or thing. You could take your hands off the controller, and your guy will automatically run through. It's like a pre-rendered cutscene, and I honestly, this is like the coolest part of free running now. But summed up, Assassin's Creed 3 is lackluster compared to the previous entries, visually, auditorily, and everywhere around. So for Overall Impact, this is going to be a pretty short one. I don't have a lot to say here because there's not a lot to talk about. To me, this game is held up by 3 main pillars. You have the main story of Connor and Haythem and protecting his people's land and all that. You have the ship battles, which were very fun. And of course, the ending to Desmond Miles' journey, which was 5 games deep, by the way. I honestly, like, I thought about this. I can't think of another single storyline that was 5 games long. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I've played franchises that are 5 games or longer, like, oh, Resident Evil, but it's not like the story from Resident Evil 1 transcends 5 games. You're always diving into something deep. Here, it's like Assassin's Creed 1 was like, Desmond Miles here trying to figure out the truth, and game 5, it's like Desmond Miles figuring out the truth.
Perhaps in time a city might be spared, but it was time we did not have. So we moved on.
And that's it. So at this point, I am sort of getting concerned for the franchise going forward, which with quality. And well, of course, the next one, Black Flag. Even though I've never played it, I've heard that it is the best in the franchise. If it's all ship battles, I'm with it. But after that, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. But for now, we're talking about Assassin's Creed 3. So let's give it a score. We are looking at... So that's it. 5 games down now. Feels like not that long ago I just finished Assassin's Creed 1 or 2. But Desmond Miles' story is done. And although the gameplay is not impressive and everything on the side was not impressive and visually not that impressive, and the soundtracks were sort of non-existent and the combat was more sponge enemy, the story was great. So, you know, that sort of makes up for some stuff. But the next Assassin's Creed game is Black Flags, for stay tuned for that. But that is not my actual next game. My next game will be my 100th video game review. Stay tuned for a special video on that. But for now, I'm your host, Cyberplanet Entertainment. I hope you enjoy this review. Peace out. What is up? I know what you're thinking. You're only here for the bonus Easter egg soundtrack I put in at the end of every video. But did you also know I have a donation page under Buy Me a Coffee? Donate whatever you want to my channel and I'll put half that back to an environmental charity. So that's that. Enjoy the music. Peace out.